Welcome back. Our final stop this evening takes us back to Union County, where I learned all the ins and outs on how to make a really good Swiss cheese. Penn Cheese has been manufacturing high-quality Swiss cheeses for nearly 3 decades right here in our backyard.
May of this year will be our 30th anniversary from when my father, Tom Weber, and his boss, Eldor Haney, moved out here from Wisconsin, southwestern Wisconsin. They had Eldor had a small cheese plant out in southwestern Wisconsin in which he made a variety of cheeses, but one thing that he really specialized in was baby Swiss. It's one thing that he kind of mastered. He had his own little recipe. You know, everybody has their own slight variation of Swiss and baby Swiss. And he had his, and he had a customer base out in southwestern Wisconsin, and he had a vision to come out here and make cheese out of Amish farmers' milk.
All of the milk for Penn Cheese comes from within a 50-mile radius of their Winfield plant. They use about 1.5 million pounds of milk per month to produce their 5 varieties of cheese: a full cream baby Swiss, a low-fat, low-sodium Lacy Swiss, domestic Swiss, smoked baby Swiss, and a hot Swiss featuring their Lacy cheese paired with jalapeno peppers. Primary markets for Penn Cheese products are small specialty outlets in southern Wisconsin, for which they make several sizes of small wheels, primarily for the holiday season. They also have a network of distribution of the baby and Lacy Swiss through country stores, as well as a significant presence in the food service market that uses the domestic Swiss loaves. Making cheese, I discovered, is part science, part art. Daily production starts the night before. We
start our production for each day the night before 9 o'clock, about 9:30. That's when we start pasteurizing our milk from the silos. We'll pump the milk through the pasteurizer. We got a pasteurizer. It's an HT/ST pasteurizer. It's a high temperature, short time. It gets up to 163 degrees for 16 seconds. Before the milk passes over into the vats. It'll probably take 2 or 3 hours to pasteurize our milk. We usually run 80 to 90,000, sometimes 100,000 pounds of milk in a day, and so it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to run that much milk through our pasteurizer. From there, over the night, we'll add our cheese cultures and our rennet, and the magic will happen in the milk. Then we'll cut the milk. The milk will separate into curds and whey, just like Little Miss Muffet.
Right.
And the curds and whey will be pumped over into a draining table. The whey will drain out, and the curds will be remaining in there. The curds will knit together underneath pressing plates, and we'll have our cheese blocks.
Non-fat dry milk powder is added to the raw milk to bring up the milk solids without increasing the fat content. For Swiss cheese, the more milk solids, the better the holes. These draining tables are the first stop in the process. The 37,000 pounds of milk from the OST vat will turn into 4,000 pounds of cheese. Here, the curds form into soft blocks. The whey is drained off, and a local hog farmer uses it as feed. The curds are cut and placed into forms. These are 40-pound blocks that are cut, placed into forms, and then pressed until most of the excess whey drains off. It's not until they reach the brine that the cheese actually hardens. The brine is kept at a consistent temperature between 40 and 50 degrees. The cheese is between 70 and 80 degrees when it enters the brine. The size of the block determines how much time the cheese spends in the brine. A 40-pound block will spend about 20 hours in brine before it is removed, cut, and packaged. All the cheese is packaged before it goes to the curing room, where the cheese will take on the characteristic look of Swiss. This room is kept a uniform temperature throughout, as any slight variation can speed up or slow down the curing process. The holes form while the cheese cures at temperatures around 65 degrees. It's not until the cheese is cooled that hole formation stops. This is where the art comes in. Knowing when to move a cheese from the curing room into cold storage so that the holes are fully formed without overdoing it takes some careful monitoring. Once in cold storage, hole formation stops, but the cheese will become sharper as it ages. Typically, Swiss is aged for 6 months before it is shipped out to the customer. Penn Cheese is the sole producer of organic baby Swiss for a major co-op. Their production facility in Winfield has been certified organic in their handling of special shipments of organic milk. Full plant inspections are conducted quarterly by the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. From the pasteurizing process to general cleanliness, every inch of the facility is inspected. 30 years after it began, Tom Weber is the head cheesemaker, and the recipe Elder Haney brought with him is still what makes Penn Cheese products delicious.
I think that we've been able to tweak it a little bit here and there to get it just a little bit better each year. Maybe not each year, but over the years we've done a little bit here, a little bit there, and we make a pretty good Swiss.
Those of us living within driving distance of Penn Cheese can drop in during regular business hours and purchase many of their products. In celebration of their 30th anniversary, Penn Cheese is expanding their retail storefront to further showcase their products, and there will also be a viewing room so visitors can take a look at the production floor. You can take an online tour of the Penn Cheese facility on their website at www.penncheese.com. That's our show for tonight. If you have a story idea for In Your Neighborhood, you can email it to me. My email address is jenwakeman@ccn-news.com. Thanks a lot for being here. I'm Jennifer Wakeman, and I'm In Your Neighborhood.